Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy Podcast for December 3rd, 2024. This is episode 341. Stand-up comedian, actor, improviser, and dreamer Paul Green, sharing my thoughts and insights as I pursue my journey and my dreams, in the hopes that perhaps you will pursue your dreams as well. And I also have been providing some commentary on self-help books that I find personally meaningful and helpful as I pursue my journey. And so I will be talking about the incredibly popular and influential book by Brené Brown, The Power of Vulnerability. So we will get to that in a little bit. But first, let's just get a quick update on the dream, the journey. So yesterday morning, I woke up in Pine Top, Arizona. I had a gig at the Honda Casino up in Pine Top, which is actually a really nice hotel and casino. I've performed there. This is my third time performing there. And had a really fun show with my partner in crime, the one and only Josh Noby. And he and I did a little two-person sort of coda of the stand-up performance and interviewed someone in the audience, which was super, super fun. And then I woke up this morning and all hell broke loose. I had about three different people or three different how am I trying to word this? Three different people who I do work for all contacting me and with sort of needing immediate attention. So I was getting pulled in a lot of different directions. When I woke up, I checked my email and I had like 8 emails. Like that was like an email thread. You know, sometimes you get into your email and there's been like 2 other people or 3 other people all emailing back and forth, but you're kind of late and they're copying you on everything. And so then you have to like go back and be like, okay, what started this whole text message thread and where is it at now? And what do I need to do about it? So yeah, I just started dealing with a lot of things. So, I wanted to get on the road to get back home to Phoenix, so that, you know, I could have good internet. There's not great internet up there at Pine Top, and I just wanted to be back home, but I didn't even really get to leave until pretty much till checkout because I just had to take care of a lot of, sort of my day job stuff. So by the time I got on the road, it was about 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. So I hop on the road and just driving back to Phoenix. It's about a 3-hour drive. And while I'm driving, I have clients blowing up my phones. Clients blowing up my phone. And so I'm having these sort of long conversations and I'm trying to like troubleshoot tech issues with computer systems and, you know, and I'm driving. So obviously I can't be at a computer. And so I'm having to like instruct, you know, other people in the company on how to like log in and what to find, what to look for and pretty much how to like troubleshoot what was going on. So it was pretty stressful. And just when I started to feel like, okay, I'm kind of digging out here, digging out of this hole, and I'm about an hour and a half outside of Phoenix. Next thing I know, the traffic in front of me is stopped. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And so I just stop. And this isn't a major freeway, but it's kind of a significant Arizona highway. And, you know, I just wait for a while. And that's when I realized, like, oh, this is one of those construction zones where, you know, they're there's only actually one lane available. So what they'll do is they'll stop the traffic, and then like one side of traffic can go at a time, and they'll have like a car that will, or either a guy with a sign who will say like stop versus slow. And then, one side of the traffic will go, and then they'll stop it, and then they'll wait for the entire lane to be clear, and then they'll have the other direction of traffic goes, right? So I pull up to this line, and I just wait. And I got to say, it was probably the longest one of those that I have ever waited at. It felt like I waited there for about 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm like, this is really, really long. And then finally, it was our turn. So I keep going, and then I think that's going to be it. And then seriously, not 5 or 10 minutes later, I come up to another big line, and I'm like, are you kidding me? There's another one of these. But this time, I didn't see any construction road signs whatsoever. It was like, what the heck is happening? And I end up sitting there at a standstill for almost an hour and a half. No movement whatsoever, an hour and a half. And obviously, I'm like, something happened. And I'm trying to like Google stuff and Google like accidents and stuff. And turns out I find this app that will tell you all of the major traffic accidents on Arizona roads. And it turns out there was an accident on the road that I was on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how long this road got backed up, especially because just a week ago, I was driving to New Mexico and I had the exact same thing happen. However, in New Mexico, I was able to find a little detour, and I was able to drive around the traffic accident, although it was about a 20-minute detour. This time, I'm up in the mountains of North Arizona in a very rural area, and it was just forest on the left, forest on right, and there wasn't a road. Like, I would have to turn around and backtrack so far to even try to find a road that would, get me back home. So I just sat there again for about a good hour and a half before traffic started moving again. When it started moving again, about 3 or 4 minutes later, there was this gigantic semi-truck, like off to the side of the road, kind of in a ditch, with the whole left side of the semi just completely crashed in. And I mean, I don't know what happened. Either like maybe a car was trying to pass it on the left, and like maybe like accidentally like clipped it, and because the front left wheel was just completely gone. I mean, it was just all bashed in. I mean, so something happened, either that, or maybe, another car coming from the other direction, wasn't paying attention and accidentally hopped the center line and just crashed into the semi head on, but, maybe just off to the side or whatever. I don't know what happened, but it was obviously brutal enough that it stopped traffic both directions for a long time for them to get the accident scene cleaned up enough to where they could start allowing traffic again. So, anytime I drive by something like that, to me, it's just a good reminder that no matter what's going on in my life, somebody else just had a very, very bad day. And who knows what's happened? I mean, somebody could have lost their lives, for all I know. I mean, if they crash into a semi-truck, and, that's a devastated family. Well, I'm getting real dark here. I'm just saying, to me, it's just a good reminder to be grateful for everything that's good in life, because who knows when something can go wrong. And, there's always somebody having a worse off day than you. So maybe I should be a little bit more grateful for all of the good things in my life. So with that, I finally made it home, and then had a bunch of work to do. Went and played some basketball tonight, which was so fun. I was actually playing really well, everybody. You know, I hate to brag, but my shot was falling tonight, which felt so nice because I have not been playing basketball for about 3 months because of the sketch comedy show that I did last month that had rehearsals on the same night that I usually play basketball. But now, since that is over, I am back to playing ball, and then I got to go hang out with my girlfriend after basketball, and it was just a great night. So with that, there's a little bit of a calm before the storm because it is about to be a wild next couple of weeks. And I have so many shows, and so much travel and mileage ahead of me. Starting with this Thursday, I'm doing the Midlife Crisis Comedy Show in Gilbert. And then on Friday, I'm doing another Midlife Crisis Comedy Show for a corporate gig up in Scottsdale. Then on Sunday, I've got a Fairy Tale Adventures gig where I will be dressing up as Batman. And then right after that, I've got to hop on the road. I will be driving out to Simi Valley, which is north of Los Angeles. That's about a 6-hour drive. I'm going to be headlining a show in the back of a Denny's because that's how well my comedy career is going. And then after that show, I have to drive 11 hours from Simi Valley, California to Salt Lake City, Utah, because me and Josh Novi then have another Midlife Crisis Comedy corporate gig up in northern Utah. That is going to be December 11th. And then we've got to drive straight from northern Utah all the way back to Phoenix, Arizona, because I have another corporate gig at 3 p.m. on Thursday. So I've got to make it from North Utah to Phoenix, Arizona between Wednesday night and Thursday at 3 p.m. And then after that show at 3 p.m., I'm then featuring at JP's Comedy Club that night. And then the very next night, I'm going to be headlining at JP's two shows on Friday and 2 shows on Saturday. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man, I just can't believe this is my life. And I'm just so grateful for these opportunities and that this is the type of thing that is going on and that I get to have these experiences, that I have the resources and the finances to be able to do these gigs and these performances and make them all work. It's a huge blessing. So with that little update, why don't we talk about Brene Brown's The Power of Vulnerability. So I have been pretty much commenting on the introductory chapter. I haven't even gotten into the regular chapters yet because the introduction had a bit of a checklist, and Brene Brown is talking about people who live wholeheartedly. And, you know, these are people that have meaningful relationships and meaningful careers, and they are fulfilled and they're happy, and their lives are wholehearted. And right off the bat, she gives 10 classifications or like 10 signs of a wholehearted person. And I've done the first 2. So the third one is to cultivate a spirit of resilience, let go of numbing. Oh, it was numbing and something else. Let go of numbing and is it numbing and victimhood? I listened to it right before, and now I've been talking so long, I forgot exactly how she words that. But ultimately, it's this idea of resilience. And I think how significant being resilient is to accomplish anything of value or meaning in life. I mean, anything that we want is on the other side of hard. Um, and the more that I pursue this dream and, meet more people who are out there pursuing their dreams, and, that I see people who get big breaks or big opportunities, to me, one of the key elements between people who get their dreams and people who don't is resilience. It really has to do with other people didn't fail. It's just that they quit. They gave up too early, or, they had a major, major setback and they just didn't have the willpower to pick themselves back up and try again after such a huge knockdown. So they quit and they just go, well, this isn't for me. I gave it the old college try. I'm going to go on to do something else, which I'm also a big fan of quitting if what you're pursuing is no longer of interest to you. However, I'm also equally in favor of being resilient and never quitting if you actually know that it is your dream and it is your passion, and that the reason that you're considering quitting is because it just got too hard, or, got too scary, it got too risky, or whatever the case is. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I've quit before. When I first moved out to LA, I was having such a hard time trying to acclimate to Los Angeles, to living there, like how to be successful, being surrounded by all of these other artists, these performers, these actors who all want to move to Hollywood and get their big break and get their big chance and be successful. And you just feel like you are just one loser in the sea of hundreds of thousands of Hollywood hopefuls, 93% of who are all unemployed as an actor because the jobs are just far and few between. And any acting job available in LA, there's 5,000 actors all applying and auditioning to try to get that job. I mean, it can be very discouraging. And I remember being in LA and I was trying to do stand-up. I've talked a lot about how much stand-up is a struggle to me in previous episodes, but just to reiterate, stand-up did not come easy to me. It was so hard. I honestly didn't even enjoy it. And I just didn't quite have, when I first started out, the attitude that I needed to have, which is, you want to know what? You're just going to suck at this for a while, and that's okay. Just do your best, keep improving, keep writing, and eventually you'll start to get good at it. I mean, I didn't have that. And I remember just saying in my mind, you want to know what? I'm just going to quit stand-up comedy. I'm just going to try to focus on acting. And not 2 days after I had made that declaration to myself, I get a call from my old comedy teacher, Tony Visick, and Tony puts on a monthly show, but he brings in headliners to headline the show. And evidently one of his headliners had backed out last minute. And so he calls me and just says, hey, I had a headliner back out. Can you come headline my show in a week? So here I went from, I don't like doing stand-up comedy. I don't think I'm good at this. I don't think I'm funny. And I'm just going to quit, to my comedy teacher in Phoenix believed in me and trusted me to headline his show. And I just knew that I couldn't turn that opportunity down. So I accepted the opportunity. I went out, I headlined, I had a good show, and it kept me doing stand-up. And I just often think, like, what if I actually had just quit back then? That was a good 8 years ago. I mean, so much has happened. So much has happened as I've pursued stand-up comedy. And I can honestly say that 8 years when I quit, I was quitting out of a lack of resilience. It was just too hard. I didn't think I had it in me. And luckily, Tony called me to do that gig to get me back in. Now, maybe I would have found my way back another way. I don't know. But to me, the point is with this whole idea of being resilient is I think a spirit of resilience will beat luck, beat people who, get an inheritance or win the lottery. It's like, hey, good for you. But for everybody else, learning to cultivate resilience and just a self-declaration that, like, whatever this goal is, I will get it and I will not stop until I do. I think cultivating at least some sort of derivative of that attitude and ambition and energy is absolutely crucial for really accomplishing anything great in this life. So cultivate a spirit of resilience, everybody. All right. That's all for me, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Paul Green Comedy Podcast for December 3rd, 2024, episode 341. I hope your dreams are coming true. You're finding joy and fulfillment in your journey. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.